Sup, everyone? I'm Paul Clark. Sup, Paul. With me in Asheville, North Carolina, is my fiance and paddling partner and partner in crime, as we say, my adventure buddy, Meghan Christian. We're talking with the owner of HALA, Colleen King. Colleen, we want to know how the first year has been as owner, so HALA 2025. And I want to hear about your perspective on some of your trips that include Wyoming and most recently Scotland. So, without further ado, Colleen, how are you doing? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Can you hear me okay now? Is it is
Exactly.
it
Where are you
okay?
at?
I
Yeah,
am
I think it's
in
great.
Steamboat.
I always
I'm
love
sitting
your
on
bright smile.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm sitting on my front porch in Steamboat. It's a beautiful fall day. Um, the garden is looking good. It's good. Yeah. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well. We were on the river yesterday for the first time experimenting with a little bit of like camera angles. I guess it was a couple of days ago now. We haven't really been much in Whitewater since the last time we saw each other in Wyoming. Megan
Hmm.
tweaked her knee on one of those last rapids, so we've been not really pushing it. How's the
Taking it
knee
easy. I
feeling?
definitely felt it yesterday, but I was so glad to get back on the river. It is such a
Mm,
place of therapy for me. So definitely worth it, but definitely felt the need still.
mm, dang, I'm sorry. That's a bummer. I'm glad it's getting better though.
That's okay. But it's fall here too, and it's so beautiful to be out on the river. I'm thinking it may be one of my last days to paddle without being in a dry suit. So I soaked up every second of it. It was so nice.
The nice thing about
Nice.
North Carolina is that we can paddle pretty much any day of the year if there's water. A lot of the rivers are rain dependent, so we haven't had a ton of rain, but I'm looking forward to paddling throughout the this summer. All right,
Yeah,
Colleen,
good.
2025, your first year as your first full year as the owner.
Yeah, 2025, it's been crazy. When I think back to January, it feels like it was like 3 years ago. And also, it feels like it's just flown by. It's been more learning than I ever could have imagined. I've been surrounded by incredible support, including yourself and Potter and Peter. Um, and there's a bunch of really incredible business mentors in Steamboat who have just emerged. And, it's been like weekly lunches with Gary Hammerschlag, who invented the BOA tightening system, and this guy, Rob Mitchell, in town. He used to work for Nike and Smartwool and all these big companies. So it's been an incredible year for the company. It's been an incredible year personally. And yeah, just it's been a ton of fun learning as I go, and figuring out new ways to bring this awesome brand to more people and new boards. So,
We've talked
yeah.
about your history with Holla in the past, but just to remind people, when did you begin with Holla and in what capacity?
Yeah. I started in 2020, not 2026, 2016 with Hala. I was Peter's executive assistant, which I was so excited to have a real big kid title. My first day, I did a group interview, and like 3 hours later, Peter called me and said they were going to hire me, and asked if I could start the next day. They didn't have a desk for me. Peter's very innovative and built me a desk out of some plywood that he found, and bits and bobs. So it's actually turned out to be a great desk in the kitchen of Hala. And yeah, it was great. I just got to learn a lot from that perspective from Peter as his assistant and help him with any number of things, from cleaning his office to writing emails for him, um, forecasting, anything and everything. So yeah, I started 2016, took a year off, went to grad school, came back part-time, and then eventually started doing accounting and forecasting around COVID, and then bought it last May 2024. So
So you definitely from moment one have seen the how Hollow works from the behind the scenes, the personalities of Hollow headquarters, the different leadership styles, the different business models. So what I've noticed this year in particular, Hala real at the behind the scenes, Hala really feels like it is something special.
Mm.
That it feels like it's ready to conquer the world. Limited number of people who are really good at what they do. You, Peter, Potter. It just feels like there's something special brewing. And when you released a limited number of boards, we went what from 20 boards to six.
Mm.
Thought that was a good idea, but I wasn't expecting them to be this good.
Yeah.
What do you think about the
I think
boards
they're
that
the
you brought?
best boards. I mean, they're it's interesting because it seems like small changes that were made, but the way that they perform on the river feels much different, very big. It's magical, and every time we put someone on one of the newer boards, they're floored. They're like, "Oh, I have to get one of these like immediately." So it's been
Mm.
wonderful to watch other people's reactions as well.
And I've really
Yeah.
loved to see Peter Hall, the founder of Hala, kind of transfer or transform his role from designer and whitewater paddler, surfer to really doing great in a leadership role behind the scenes. Of course, these are his designs, the shapes, your color choices, and your leadership to make the brand work in trying times. So, congratulations to you. And I have
Thank you.
a really big question.
Okay.
So, when people think Hollow, they think rivers, they think whitewater paddleboarding, they think the signature Atcha board. So, when you go paddling with people, I bet they're a little bit like, "Ooh, here's Colleen, the owner of this paddleboard company, this Whitewater paddleboard company." Do they really like start showing off for you, almost as if they were like, "I want to be on the team, so I better bring my A game."
Um, yeah, that is a good big question. Yes, a little bit, and it makes me giggle because I've had the experience of paddling with a lot of really good paddlers, and sometimes it's only because of this position that I'm in a lot of times. So I feel equally as like starstruck and honored to be on people's local river with them. But there's definitely my little brother is my paddle partner. And for example, when we were in Scotland or like we've paddled various areas with new people before, and he just thinks that he's like one of my very best friends, but I'm his big sister, so he likes to like make fun of me. And he was he was giving me a hard time, like they're really trying to show off for you. It's hilarious. Like they don't know you at all. They must think you're like scary and intimidating. And after like 5-10 minutes, I think of being on the water with people and talking to them and realizing, I'm not judging their paddling, and hopefully they're not judging my paddling. We're just out there paddling. Um, but it has been interesting. It's been funny because I'm out there just trying to learn everything I can from all these incredible paddlers.
And you're super humble, and you're a great person. You're formerly a professional volleyball player. You've been an accountant. Is there expectations for you to be like this gnarly whitewater paddleboarder dropping class five drops or
That's what
whatever?
I wondered.
Yeah, I was just having this conversation with Peter because as Peter helped invent the sport, he brought a lot of credibility to the sport. And sometimes I wonder what my paddling and my experience brings to the sport. And what I'm running with is that I bring a lot of enthusiasm and passion and demonstrating that like you just have to have a good attitude. You got to be humble. You got to respect the river and not take yourself too seriously. And it is genuinely an approachable sport for anyone who wants to give it a go, who can come with those things. Um, because I don't always bring the credibility. I'm not dropping class five waterfalls, and I've referred to myself as the snack mom occasionally when we see something that I just don't think my technical skills are quite there, and I'm not willing to take the risk if my technical skills not there. But I'll be on the sideline with some spin drifts and snacks, ready to celebrate you and your accomplishments. But yeah, I sometimes feel that pressure that I'm supposed to be super gnarly. Um, yeah.
So I saw some of the footage from Scotland and I was like, oh, that's really
Yeah.
big water. And I was like, I wonder if Colleen knew what she was getting into before she got into those situations. And
Yeah,
I
I look at Megan and she's texting you
I was
like,
like, oh
"What are you
gosh, are
in?"
you okay?
Yeah.
Like that's huge
Yes.
water.
I
That's
appreciated your
great.
text so much, Megan, because sometimes when you look at that from a video, people are like, that's not that impressive. But when you're standing above it, you're like, oh my God. So the videos did it
Right.
some justice, but it was big water. I was super thankful to have Jim Miller, who is just a stand-up guy, and he's also an incredible guide. So he takes a lot of people there. He's someone who I think really opened the door to Whitewater Sup, specifically for HALA, but I think the sport in general in Scotland. Um, so he was great. I mean, he did a great job of balancing taking care of us while also giving us the confidence. My little brother came as well, giving us the confidence of things that we could do or things that we should try. We've had this conversation before, Paul, of like, how do you vet your group to make sure that everyone is safe and makes their own decisions, but also doesn't put the group in danger. Um, so the first day that we went, there was like a drop, and I asked how often does it happen that someone's board goes one way on a rock and they go the other, and Jim said never. And I was like, all right, I bet I could make that happen.
Did you
And
demonstrate that it's possible?
sure enough, I did. And he said, and there were so many great paddlers. Jess is incredible. It like has a whole platform for Intel on the rivers in Scotland. Dev, he's a really incredible paddler. Rich, they all like it was, I was able to, my leash actually automatically released, but I was going to release it. And immediately Jess had a throw bag in the water. Jim was on watching, and Dev was chasing my board down. And they did a great job looking after me. I think they were shocked, they not shocked, but they don't know me, so they were like, "Oh my God, how's she going to respond?" And I came up, I swam as hard as I could for the eddy, and they helped me. And then once I was safe, they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh man, yeah, that was told you someone could do it," and just laughing. And but thankfully they were there. It was a safe scenario. I'm confident in my ability to stay calm in a sketchy situation, and it all went smoothly. So yeah, I didn't really know what we were getting into,
Well,
and
well,
we were with the right people.
well. Chad getting ready and carrying their boards up, and you're right in the middle of it. And Chad has reached out a couple of times to talk about this. He's like, "That's Colleen. She's the owner of the company, and this is Peter, the founder of the company, and she's bringing snacks." And the drone is flying. Like it was such a special thing. Like the idea of like you're there as like mama bear, making sure everybody's safe. And
Thanks.
the thing about this brand, and this is like a full circle of what I think Hala has something special. The leadership that you provide, it's it's just it creates such a well balanced element to this brand. Yes, the boards have been great, the designs have been great, blah blah blah. But if the company is not run as superb as it could be, then it doesn't go anywhere. So with you in at the helm, and Peter doing designs, and then the team doing their paddling, getting content, and you really highlighting what the brand could do. We all have our roles, and it's just I look forward to what Hala has for the future. So
Thank you.
when you're in the middle of the shot providing snacks, like exactly, though you're very competent and great paddler, it's like oh, there's so much more to Colleen than the ability of just running a river on a paddleboard.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, thanks. It's been a lot of something I've said for years is I don't trust anyone who doesn't say I don't know, and just going to say like anyone who's too overly confident. But at the same time, you hope that you're bringing the right things to the table and being a good leader. And this has definitely been a year of sucking up my pride and saying I don't know. I've had a lot of help from business perspectives and being open to some harsh feedback from people so that I can learn and make it better. And then same with paddling. There's been a lot of scenarios where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll give it the best shot I got. And yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. it's been awesome to be part of every bit of it, in whether I'm bringing snacks or I'm having to make business decisions or whatever it may be. It's been an interesting year.
With you, yeah, with humility, with persistence, with great joy. Like, have you ever seen Colleen not smile?
No,
I bet
never.
even when you were on that rock in Scotland, you were smiling to a certain degree.
I was,
Uh,
yeah. As I was going under, I was kind of laughing. I was laughing at myself. Yeah, yeah,
and as this platform grows, maybe this will be the HALA podcast. I'm not 100% certain where we want, but like interviewing people. And I wanted Megan to be on this conversation with you because it seems like you guys are becoming buds.
yeah.
And you had a shared experience in Wyoming. We were running the gorge of the Shoshone River that is near Cody, and you two were running shuttle and basically watching some chaos unfolding in this class 4 plus gorge. Do you want
Hmm.
to share what you were seeing during
Yeah,
all that?
trying to figure out if it's something I wanted to run or not, and I couldn't quite tell from the description of it all exactly what was going to go on. So I decided to kind of sit it out. And Colleen and I were going to drive to the takeout, but along the way there were some pullouts, so we could pull over and we could watch you guys down in the gorge as you were progressing along the river and trying to get video. And then we saw someone get separated from their board and a board get pinned, and we were able to, from this, eagle's eye perspective, look down into the gorge and watch the whole scenario happen. And I was really glad I chose not to
Oh,
run
yeah.
that section, but it was frightening. It was interesting to watch it from where we were able to.
Oh man, yeah. It was something that I was unsure of, and it was a really good learning lesson for me to trust my intuition a little bit. Just at the top of the river, I just had kind of it was a large group. It was a lot of people I hadn't paddled with, and that's not to discount any of them. I just didn't know them, and so something, and hearing Chad, who I trust very much, but talk about it, I wasn't feeling super confident about my skills, and whether it was my skills that day or just in general, I knew that it was like gonna be a lot of technical moves back to back. And so I opted out of it. And in watching the group go through, I think everyone handled the scenario really well, but it definitely, um, you know, had I been there, maybe I would have also been in a similar scenario as the paddler that got pinned. And then what would that have done to the group to put everyone in danger for two of us to be pinned? Um, it was scary. I mean, I remember watching the paddler get separated from their board, and Megan had turned around to go get sunscreen or something, and I wanted to yell her name, but then I had the thought, like, oh my God, I wonder if I'm gonna watch someone get seriously hurt or worse, and I don't want Megan to see that. So I just like froze, and and then she came back and I was like, Megan, something's happening. And you all did a great job, and it all worked out really well, but it was definitely humbling and a good reminder to trust your intuition and um, know what you're getting yourself into before you go go for it. Yeah.
Wonder about your thoughts on this. So you have people who are beginning to really push the sports. Over the last generation, people have been pushing the sports, dropping waterfalls, running technical stuff, swimming a lot. Um, I remember when I was beginning, like, oh, this is a platform for me to have a reputation. So I tried to do like 12-foot waterfalls and had a compression spine injury and lost a board. We just lost Colleen, but now she's back.
Oh, stand back.
Uh, and now with a huge part of your designs, your boards, people are able to push the limits and be successful with it. Frothy Sup in Scotland is doing some things I didn't think would be possible on a paddleboard. So now that you have this vehicle, and this vehicle I think is a platform, a stage for self expression. Are you a little nervous when you see people trying to push the limits? Are you encouraging of it? Are you all for it?
Yeah, good question. I think both. I think that if you're not nervous, then I don't feel like you're in a good position. I think that you should always respect the river, regardless of if you're going tubing or you're doing waterfalls like Sam. early in the season, I got to paddle with Sam and Chad, like you're saying, or Frothy and Chad. And I think that they're two of the people that really are pushing the limits of the sport pretty far. And I felt so much better getting to know them as people because I got to see their how seriously they take it and they don't have a lot of ego. So yes, I am nervous and I feel really confident in the paddlers that we have on our boards that are pushing this sport because I got to see how humble they are and how they're not scared to say, I'm not feeling it. Same with Jim Miller. I had some conversations with him on the side of the river. He was talking about when he was out east paddling with Chris Morgan, who's another person really pushing limits. And he said he went and looked at, I wish I could remember the name of it or even where they were, but he looked at it and he's like, nope, I don't feel it today. And he stayed up all night thinking about it. And the next day he was like, I'm going to go look at it again. And then the next day it was like kind of a trek to get there. And he looked at it again and he said, yep, nope, still not feeling it. So I am nervous that people are pushing the sports, but I do think something really special about Hala that I love is there can be a lot of ego in the outdoor industry or a lot of pride, and I think that the paddlers we have on boards are doing a really good job of knowing their limits and trusting themselves and their intuition. And I'm scared. I mean, some of the things Chad was talking to me about, I'm like, you know, you don't have to do this. Like, we're not pushing you to do this. We think you're great. You can just, it's fine. We could go get a margarita. But uh, yeah, both. I am scared and I trust the paddlers we have and I really respect them because I think they're humble people that respect the river.
And one thing that you are doing is you're going and meeting these paddlers. You're meeting their families. You're meeting their spouses and their children. You did that in Scotland. You did that in Wyoming. This is another reason why I want Megan on here because it's not just about the brand. It's about like the family. It's about the faces. It's about the laughter. So I
Yeah.
think as the brand grows, and pushes the limits and challenges the norms, it really focuses on this one really special thing that as a content creator I'm looking to do and focus on the people, the
Yeah.
humility of a sport that potentially is full of ego. So
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a testament to, I'm naming people this year, but to you and Peter and the way that you built the brand. I mean, you and him have been shooting and telling the stories of it. And, Peter is one of the most humble people that I know, and he's so kind and he really genuinely cares about humans and the people. Um, and same with you, Paul. I mean, you said before that maybe in the beginning you felt a little bit of ego, but I've never seen that from you. You're always so humble and like happy to get people on the water and give them feedback and tips if they need it or they want it, but just have fun with people on the water. So, I mean, like you guys wove the foundation of it for that, and I think it shows in the culture that we see now and how people are progressing the sport. Good job, Sep Paul.
if it wasn't for Hala, if it wasn't for Hala, I wouldn't be who I am right
Hmm.
now as far as a paddler or as a content creator. And I always tell people if it wasn't for river paddleboarding, I wouldn't be a paddleboarder.
Hmm.
So I'm going to ask you, Megan, why do you paddleboard? What's special about it?
Well, I want to speak for a second to the part about being humble. I think paddleboarding, you have, there's no way that you can get good as a paddleboarder if you're not humble, if you're not okay with falling over and over and over again and being able to laugh about it like Colleen did and her, and be able to not be afraid and get back on and try it again. I think paddleboarding is really special in that it's very mental and it's also physical. So for me, I get almost addicted to the mental component, like talking about Jim, who he's like, I can't do it today, and then he couldn't go to sleep. He couldn't stop thinking about it. And the next day, he's gonna go look at it again. That's how I am with paddleboarding, and I think people that get hooked to it, it's that component that it's not just I'm gonna go out, get out, and be in nature and get some physical activity. There's an almost addiction to pushing your own self to do better and better and better. And that's what I find every time I go on the river. I'm like, man, I wish I could try that again. Or, oh, if I just had done this a little different. And that's what's addictive, is that piece of it. It's what makes me come back over and over and over again. But paddling with SUPPAUL, when I very first started, that was a little, I wouldn't say intimidating, because you never,
You didn't really, our relationship wasn't about
I actually
paddleboarding
didn't
so
know who
much.
in the hell SUPPAUL was for the first 2 years of our
We
relationship.
were skating
I
partners.
didn't. I had no idea. Like, I had no idea.
That wasn't a part of it. My
Yeah.
persona didn't translate
It,
to our
it wasn't
relationship.
until I decided I wanted to become a better paddleboarder, and I started looking up like classes. I was like, how, like, are there people I could go and learn from? And Paul kept popping up, and I was like, what the heck? What's he doing? Anyway, so now I've just totally lost my
Well,
train of thought.
I think you answered why you like paddleboarding.
Okay, yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
sport that guarantees success or comfort. At least river paddleboarding or adventure paddleboarding, it's B type fun where it's like, huh, I'm failing a lot, and I guess I'll try it
Yeah.
again tomorrow and fail a lot.
I think
Yeah.
the river has opened up friends and relationships and opportunities, as well as physical fitness, to me in ways that other things have not. So it's just the river's always been something that's been given giving to me in so many ways. So, and I find
Hmm.
it even more. You can challenge yourself as little or as much as you like, and you're gonna get as far or not as far as you know, that happens.
And I also want
Yeah.
to talk about Megan's boy a little bit, her 19-year
Oh,
old
Mason.
Mason.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's been poo-pooing paddleboarding,
For
like,
years.
I'm a kayaker, I'm a blah blah blah. I don't want
Trying
to.
to get him on a paddleboard for 3 years, and he has
Finally,
refuses to do it.
finally, we got him onto a river section so that he could take his girlfriend out paddling, and he became hooked. They're like, okay, can I do some rapids?
It's like obsessive.
And so now he's on a river trip, basically. You met him in Steamboat. He's
Yeah.
in Southern Oregon right now with Covey Bach
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, nice.
on the river doing some things. He was dropping some waterfalls in Northern Oregon and paddled in the white salmon, both on raft and paddleboard. So it's like, once this paddleboarding thing gets into your soul, it's like, give it to me.
Yeah. Well, he was
Yeah.
a skateboarder, so I think for him, it's like skateboarding on rivers, you know?
Yeah.
So he connects
Yeah.
it super well. But yeah, it's all, I can't even talk to him about anything else. All he talks about is paddleboarding now.
And he wants to create an app, a resource for put-ins, takeouts, people who are in the community.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
great.
great.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you both bring up a good point about the community though. That's been my most favorite part about this last year. I mean, for years in Hala, but really this last year I've put myself out there and tried to go meet different team paddlers and just explore different areas through these whitewater festivals. And um, it's like uh, I think that the SUP community in general is really awesome and welcoming. And because it takes like a certain kind of person for this B-type fun where you are failing over and over, people say to me like, "Oh, I could never do that. I'd be too scared or I'd fall." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm both of those things all the time. It's fine. It's just part of it." And
Constantly.
yeah, and it's so fun. But the community is really special, and because we're Hala, I'm super biased, and I think that the Hala communities now I've seen around the world are really special. I think it's goes back to the testament of like the the foundation that you and Peter built, what great quality people you are, your character, and how that's just been like woven into the culture of what it means to be a Hala paddler. Everyone that I've interacted with has been so kind and welcoming, even before they knew I was the owner. Because when I first took over, I didn't share super openly, and people were just like stoked to get me out on their local river, just because I was another paddler and another hollow paddler as well. So yeah, I think the community has been the most. It's so cool. It's so cool to go. We pulled up to a random bridge in Scotland. And we pull up and there's a stack of like four hollow boards on the car, and Jim Miller has a hollow magnet on the hood of his car, and I was like, "Oh my God, where are we? This is incredible!" And then you have five new friends. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I was talking to Peter about this also in May. Like, his name is essentially on these boards. So every time he's traveling and he sees Hollow boards, like, what does that feel like? And I think
Yeah.
he's been under so much stress over the last decade that I don't know if he's been able to take a deep breath and really appreciate what he's founded, and hopefully he has a little
Yeah.
bit more perspective on that now. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's always exciting. And now you're meeting these people, and again, the things that you build and you contribute based in Steamboat where you were raised. Let's do the ranching thing. Like,
That's fun.
the entire like Western ethos is possible where you're at in Steamboat Springs. A lot of your friends are cowboys and ranchers, and one of the very first videos I think you created on your own was, let's see if ranching equipment could destroy one of our paddle boards.
Yes, I did that with our manager at our warehouse manager, Jamie Smith, at the time, because it was slow season. She didn't have much to do in the warehouse, and she wanted to be involved in something bigger. And thankfully, Peter encourages you to think for yourself. And I was like, I've got a weird idea. Can I try something? And that was so fun. I wish I had mic'd up the Cowboys because they like thought that it was going to be like a one and done run over this board with a tractor. And they're like, we'll try to do it slow so that you get some footage. And after running over it like 5 times, like they were like, how the heck? I can't believe that hasn't popped. And like like inspecting it. And then they were like, get the swather and like trying to get it with the swather. They dragged it around the arena. It was so much fun. We should have bet them like a case of beer. Um, I think we did, but I let him pop it at the end with a hay. I don't even
Cordless
know what you
thing.
call it. Yeah, it
A
has
hay
like the
baler
point
thing.
to get the round bales off. Stabs it.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
you had to puncture it to get it to pop? Is that I didn't see the video.
Well, we
So
had some.
driving over it
Yeah, no driving over it did it. The driving over it didn't do it.
didn't
We had
pop it.
the horses walking over it and stepping over it, and what actually caused some abrasion but could have been fixed was what we see a lot with customers that misuse their boards. It was like we had a rancher, one guy crit standing on the board while Chase pulled him behind a horse. It was like lassoed off, and they were dragging it around the arena. So like that kind of friction with the pebbles and the weight of him on it caused some abrasion. So don't do that. Don't drag it across the parking lot. Those things. But they were doing it for like an hour, and it still didn't fully like break it. It just was so beat up. We were like, we're not gonna even be able to sell it. I surfed it down a pile of manure. That was fun. Um,
Wow.
I fell one time, but
In the manure?
yeah, in the manure. That was tough. That was tough.
it's kind of like surfing on the French Broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
I've never been there, but I
And
was
then
imagining
you dragged with yeah with the new boards this last winter. You
yes.
dragged them across the snow at like a
Yes.
ski touring event in Steamboat. What was that all about?
Oh yeah, that was fun. Well, my best friend Allie and her husband Chase, they manage Yampa Valley Ranch and were they're growing their beef program and their business. So we've been calling 2025 Beef and Boards because we talk a lot about our businesses and um so we've had like when I have HALA tents, they'll bring a grill and cook sliders to promote their beef, and it works for me because it brings people to our tent. But anyways, I just had this weird idea of like I want to be in the parade for a Steamboat Winter Carnival, which is the best holiday. And they closed down Main Street. They put a bunch of snow down, and so I asked her if they could pull us behind horses on our boards. Across the snow, and it was super fun. I had my niece on the back with her ski helmet on. She was so excited to be in the
Is
parade.
she the one who rolled off at one point?
Yes, that was my other niece on the back of my other friend's board. And then the horses couldn't stop, so she's sprinting. She's 3 years old, sprinting in her little helmet to jump back on the board. Yeah. Yeah, weird things. The nice things that my friends do for a case of beer and because they want to support me. And the zest for the West is real right now, you know? People like cowboys. So
What did you think of the more Western adventures
It
this
was
summer?
great. And I just I reflect so much back on what Colleen just said, the sense of community. So I think that was, of course, the beauty, the natural beauty, but all the different towns and communities we went into and the different groups of paddlers that we were able to meet was really very special to me.
Where in
Mm.
Colorado, and I think Colorado in many ways remains the epicenter for river paddleboarding. When I was living in Oregon, I always challenged that. In Oregon, you can paddle every day of the year in the desert, in rain rivers, and multi-day, blah blah blah. But the population really remains in Colorado. We saw hollow paddleboards and other paddleboards all throughout the state. What were some of your favorite rivers or experiences in Colorado, Megan?
Mm.
I feel like we paddled different sections.
You like Browns
I
Canyon? I
loved
know that
Browns
on
Canyon.
Arkansas.
That was probably my favorite, was Browns Canyon. It was just epic and beautiful and amazing. But that same river, I think we paddled what, three or four sections of?
And Jamie Lee was so accommodating. She took us on a variety of
Yes.
sections on the Arkansas and the Shoshone section of the Colorado.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah. Yes, she took me on the Shoshone as well. Jamie is really
How was
How's
that?
that?
Jamie. Oh, it was great. I nailed the entrance exam both times
Yeah.
somehow. And then I fell the first time it was a dry run for me. The second one I fell in some weird spots. But Jamie and Trinity, I give them a shout out, are like so eager and excited to take people on new sections and so great about it. Um, we're going paddling on the lower
Yeah.
blue on Thursday with Trinity.
Oh, I'm jealous. We should
Yeah,
head
We hear
out.
that's nice.
I just am
yeah,
so always impressed with people who have a passion for paddleboarding and a passion for the river, and they don't care who you are. They want to take you out. They want to show you the
yeah,
river. They want to share their stoke with you. And I feel like that's part of the Hall of Family that I see that I don't see with other things, and it makes it incredibly special. So it was just
yeah.
interesting. Every little town we went into, I was like, oh, more Hall of Family, more Hall of Family, more Hall of Family. It's fun even going down the road. Like we see someone we don't know with a hollow board, we're like, holla, and it's like this
Yeah,
instant connection. It's great.
We earlier
yeah.
today we had a key performance index meeting that Colleen runs every first Tuesday of the month. And one thing that I've determined through our social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, etc., the audience tends to be a male in their mid 30s through mid 40s.
Hmm.
I've always appreciated the activities of the women paddlers, the people who take lessons and get guided services and buy the equipment. Uh, Most people that I paddle with seem to be female at the moment. So I don't know if that demographic, say a man 37, is who's on the river paddleboarding. What do you think about that, Colleen?
Yeah. I think unfortunately that demographic is probably right historically, but I think that we've gained more momentum and you've caught onto it earlier. Paul, I remember you saying this like 3 years ago of like the future is women. I do see, I mean, a lot of the paddlers that are really into it and that are gaining momentum and getting out there more and more and maybe more frequently is a lot of women. So I think historically, just like a lot of outdoor sports, it tends to be male dominated. But I think that women are starting to really have a presence and I think that their presence, like I think a lot of women, like you said, Megan, it gets like pretty addictive. It's really fun, which I guess could be for anyone. It doesn't have to be male or female, but as a female, what you said as a female resonates with me. So maybe it also resonates with other females.
And does it matter that you're a female running this company? I've wanted to maybe leverage that element in social media, but you've kind of dismissed it as like not very important. So can you address that?
Yes. Is it important? I think it's important to have representation, just in general, of all sorts. I, I am scared that I froze. You froze for me. Oh wait,
Oh, you're
can
good.
you? Oh, okay, cool.
You're
You
good.
guys just froze
You're
for
good.
me for a second. Um, yeah, I think having more women-owned businesses. Why are you laughing?
I'm
It's so
making
late.
faces, like freezing
He's
faces.
freezing.
Oh, I missed it. Um, yeah, I think having more women-owned businesses is interesting, and uh, eh, not to fully stereotype, but I think men and women can often lead differently. Um, and something that I've experienced with my coaching and with volleyball is like a lot of times men try to lead young women like they're men. I think that women can have a little bit more of a softer approach sometimes to leadership, or like a more human approach to leadership where they want to really listen to people. They're not strong arming people and just and can approach business that way. The reason this is all rambling, I'm sorry. The reason why sometimes I feel like it's not important is because I've been so lucky to work with men who have always led that way, like I always felt really cared for by Peter and Jimmy and you and just all of the men that worked at HALA. So, stepping into this leadership role, I don't necessarily feel different. Like I felt like I've always been treated like a human. I've always had the respect of just being a human. When I got a little bit more assertive, I was never called bossy or, like anything, any of the stereotypes. They just were like, oh, that's a really good idea. And when I was direct, they would tell me if I was being too direct or like if it was valid. And we've just had really open dialogue that way. So internally, it doesn't necessarily feel different because I think Hala has a really great cultural um, aspect of treating everyone just well as human beings. Societally, as things are getting more and more heated, I do feel proud to be a woman-owned business, and I feel proud to inspire other young women. I coach volleyball in the winter for our club, and I love volleyball, but it's more so I love using it as a medium to mentor young women. So, in showing them that I own a business and I manage men, I think it is cool for them to see something like that. Um, it's also cool for them to
Well,
see
I,
that.
I remember.
I was just gonna say it's also equally cool for them to see men who respect women. And I also am in like a managerial position within the club, and so I'm not the director, but I'm the admin assistant. And a lot of times I'm managing men. We have a lot of male coaches who are incredible, and so I think it's good for them to also see men that respect women. So both ways, it goes both ways.
What a great perspective. I guess I haven't really thought about that element to it. I mean,
Yeah.
having role models is okay. How the idea of okay, a male role model, what can they show? Like, yeah, they show respect to other people. That's a great role model. But I'm
Yeah.
also reminded. I was doing some filming of you. Thanks for allowing me to tag along on a volleyball training camp when I was in
Yeah.
Steamboat. Like, Colleen, do
Yeah.
you mind if I tag along hear your training and coaching and all of this and rolling in the sand and all that and I have the camera and everybody was accommodating, but uh, not everybody really understood what I was doing, let alone like who you are as anything other than like a volleyball coach. But
Yeah.
I heard a young man say, "Wait, she's the owner of Hala? No way!"
Yeah. Yeah, that was cute. That was funny. Yeah. That was so nice that you came too, Paul. You were willing to wake up at 6 and go down into the sand court with a bunch of 50 teenagers. That says a lot about you. That was fun.
I was just
Yeah.
carrying a camera. I wasn't doing the workouts that you guys were doing.
Yeah, that's Pio, man. He puts you through a good Samoan workout, running up and down with sandbags on your back up the mountain and hopping around in the sand. It'll kick your butt.
Well, awesome, Colleen. We're going to wrap up in a minute. We've been on the call almost 50 minutes. I appreciate your time and your energy and your enthusiasm. Thank you, Megan, for joining us.
I'm
I'm,
happy
I'm,
to.
I'm
I'm
so
glad to see
glad.
your face and hear your voice, Colleen.
Yeah, Megan, me
I know you
too.
can't you can't reveal too much or rub a crystal ball to see what the future is like, but what do you think Hala is going to be up to in 2026?
Yeah, I think that we've gained a lot of momentum with this current lineup that we have. I think social proof goes a really long way. So I anticipate that more people, since they've tried out the boards and it is an investment, I think that we're going to see a lot more board sales in 2026 with this product line. Um, we're working on getting a couple of pilot programs with international distribution in a couple different areas, and it's so fun to have Peter he still carries a lot of weight of different things in the company, but it's so fun for him to have time to focus on different designs. So I know he's been busy meeting with different 3D engineers and different people to bring to life some of the ideas that have been bouncing around in his head for years. More on the accessory side, and it's cool. We're already looking at innovations for 2027 boards. So yeah. I that's a good teaser maybe.
And I
Yeah.
just want to, as we're wrapping up, the color choices that you made this year are fantastic.
Thank you.
My initial impression was like, "Ooh, those are a little wild," but then I realized that's what Hala's always about:
Yeah.
wild colors to complement their designs. And every year, and I've been doing this with Peter since 2013 as a photographer. Everyone has something negative to say, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the colors last year were perfect." And,
Yeah.
and and they continue running that 2017. Oh, the colors last year were perfect.
Yeah.
2019, the colors last year. And it's those same people who were saying like the colors were perfect then are the ones that are saying, oh, it's gross now or whatever it is. And like, so when I hear people's comments about colors, and everybody likes your colors, but always the initial impression is like, oh, it's different. I resist
Yeah.
change. They
Yeah,
were
people don't
better
like
then.
change.
And
Yeah.
and so like I've been doing some graphic design work with your colors. I'm like, yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I love this color. It's like I accidentally hop on the board and my PFD's this color, my sleeping pad's this color. Yeah, I just picked my favorite colors. ChatGPT said they're also trending in the outdoor industry, so I was like, that's enough validation for me.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you. Yeah, everyone is resistant to change, but yeah. My sister just walked up. Hi, Shannon. We're
Hey,
doing.
Colleen.
Yes. Hey, all right, we'll let you go. I've been getting some text messages from Katrina. I asked her to maybe do a
Yay.
video talking about the Whitewater Center, so hopefully she
Yes,
does that.
that'd be great.
And hopefully I'm not monitoring the YouTube channel if this is coming out relatively clear
Yeah.
uh, and the robot sound that is echoing a little bit isn't too problematic. If we're able to use the footage, great. If not, it's been always great to talk to you, and
Yeah,
I look
you
forward
too.
to having this as a more regular series. Talking with you, talking with Peter, talking with the Holo team. That's it.
Yay.
Bye,
Thanks, Paul.
Colleen.
Thanks, Megan. Bye. We'll see
All
you.
right.